This is a lovely R&B riff. Lovely is a lovely word, and this is a lovely R&B riff. And I've been doing this kind of thing for a long time. It originated in the 60s in Motown, probably, maybe even before that. I have to check my research for that. But the names that got bandied about were like Steve Cropper. People ask me to play like Steve Cropper, and this is what I do. But there are lots of other guys. David T. Walker was another one. Lots of guys who use these kind of riffs on great classic records forever. So what I'm doing, this is in the key of D. It could be anywhere, but I'm kind of visualizing it, this D chord right here. And I'm bringing my index finger up to grab the top of this D chord. We have a D here, we have a D here. I'm doing it right here. So it's the 7th fret. That's kind of where my hand is resting. And I take my index finger and I bar across 2 strings to make this happen. The first 2 strings I use are the 4th and 5th string. So I take my index finger, and this is the 7th fret, 5th string, and then I grab the next string over, 7th fret, 4th string, and I sound them. And you can use a pick, but I'm using my fingers because it makes it warmer. I like to try and use my fingers when I can to make a more kind of mellow sound. But you can use your pick, whatever's easiest for you. It's just a different sound. So the first thing I'm doing is grabbing these 2 notes together, and I do a hammer-on, which is a 2-note hammer-on, which might be a bit of a challenge, might not, but it's a good thing to practice. And the challenge really is, what you're doing is you're taking your 3rd finger and you're grabbing, on the same strings, you're grabbing notes that are exactly 2 frets up. It's a whole note up. And the really challenge of it is you don't want any of these other strings to ring. You want to be able to strike with your 3rd finger and just sound these 2 strings, the same strings you had down here. Okay, so you do that successfully, hopefully, and then you go over with your index finger and grab the next 2 notes on the 3rd and 4th string. This is very easy. The only hard part is this hammer-on, where you are sounding those 2 notes with your 3rd finger and making sure these 3 strings don't sound at all. That's the hard part. So then you pick with your right hand. You're just moving your index finger 1 string over. That's the first part of the phrase. And this is really fun now. Now you take your index finger and you just slide it up 2 frets. And then slide it back down. So you only are picking it once, but you're getting a couple more phrases out of it. And you're doing it for a musical reason. You could pick it. It's just a different sound. It's kind of smoother and mellower. So that's the first part of the phrase. I'll do it really slowly. And then to finish the phrase, I take these 2 fingers, the 3rd finger and the little finger. I kind of plant them here, which is kind of on an A note and an E note. So it's the 10th fret, 2nd string with your little finger, and it's the 9th fret, 3rd string with your 3rd finger. And that's where they're starting, but I'm not going to stay there long. I'm going to use that as a starting point to slide up. 2 frets. And then I slide back down. And much like the way I did this, I'm only picking once. It's all with the left hand. Slide up, slide down. And you want you want to try and make sure that you're holding on strong enough. You're pressing down strong enough so that all the notes sound. And that's a challenge. Slide up, hold, keep the strings pressed down so that the notes sound nice and sweet and strong after you drop down. Okay, then the last thing in this phrase, it's I'm taking my index finger and I'm just going 2 strings over to the second and third string. And that's how I end it. So I've basically done this with my index finger throughout the phrase. And the last piece of this phrase is the index finger on the, let's see, 3, 5, 7th fret, third string, and then the 7th fret, second string. So you're up here, and you land. And to review, you're kind of hovering around the top of a D chord right here, this D chord. So that'll have it make sense for you. You're in the key of D major. So here we go. Beautiful phrase, the kind of thing John Mayer uses a lot. But it came from a long time ago.